Yeah, you know what's wrong there? Family thing.
Friends, if I could please have your attention. If we could please find our seats. And just a gentle reminder before we begin, if anybody has a cell phone, please take a moment to turn it on silent. On behalf of the family, I want to thank everybody for joining us here today, as well as those who are joining on the live stream. We are about to begin the service for Judith Rose Wasserman. Officiating our service today is Rabbi Lisa Bellows. Just one more announcement before we begin our service, just to absolutely make everything clear. After our service here in the chapel, we are going to escort the family across the lobby where we have Shiva prepared for you just in the far side of our chapel, Chapel D. Just make sure everybody knows that that's happening and the family's inviting you to join them.
Would you also like to come around with the witness? Unless you want to stand up. Yeah, we can stand up, just wait yeah, just stand up.
Sure.
Then it's you will say the one, so you okay. So this is a ritual that reminds us of our sadness at this loss. And with time, we feel, but we also know that we'll never be the same. So I'd say the blessing is either it's 5 to 6 words, you repeat after me. We'll go ahead and share it over, and we'll do the same once we're finished. That's how I belong. Please bless you, Judith, truth. One is with us in times of joy, and also in times of sorrow.
Adonai ma'adam v'tida'ehu bein enosh v'tichashavehu. Adonai, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath. Our days are like a passing shadow. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to turn to dust, saying, "Return, O mortal creatures." Would that we were wise, that we understood where we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted, and behold the upright. They shall have peace. We're here together to say goodbye to and to celebrate Judy's life. For her love and her companionship, for the gifts of her heart and mind, we give thanks. In times of mourning, sadness, we receive comfort from family and friends, but also perhaps from the words of our psalmist, King David. The tradition teaches us that we read Psalm 23 as a reminder that we are never alone. It's a reminder from our psalmist who wrote about issues of love and loss and life and death, that there is also strength in faith. You have the words to Psalm 23 on the inside cover of your leaflet. I'll offer some of the psalm in Hebrew, and then if you wish, we'll join together. Adonai ro'i lo echsar bino deshe yerbitzeni amei menachot inachaleni. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely and good mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backwards or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, made stage by stage, from birth to death to life everlasting. In the book of Ecclesiastes, we read that there's a time to keep silent and there's a time to speak. Judy's daughter, Amy, offers these words. Although the weather wasn't behaving nicely to allow me to be there, I did want to share just a few thoughts at this time about who Mom was to me as my mom and a person. She loved, she laughed, she was smart, well-read, well-traveled. She loved games, particularly our Scrabble games. Memories of games with my friends, my mom, and glasses of wine abound. She liked to win. She supported me on everything, every choice without judgment. And to those who judged her family, she was fierce and unforgiving. She was a safety net and a source of comfort for so many people throughout the years. She was strong at times and weak at times. She lived life fully, the ups and the downs, until she just couldn't any longer. On which note, I can only hope that one day our nation does a better job of allowing people to die with dignity on their own terms. Today is tough. Saying goodbye is tough. But let's celebrate the amazing person she was. Here's to the countless memories that make us smile, the quirks that make us laugh, and the love that will stay with us forever. Cheers to you, Mom. I'm pleased to invite Judy's firstborn niece, Karen, to come to offer some words.
That was so beautiful, and I don't intend to say anything that's as beautiful as what Amy said, or I wish I could, but she's really amazing. So from the time I was born, my aunt was there for me. She would come from the far south side to the far north side to be with me, to help my mom. It was during the war. My dad was in Japan. And so she would come every weekend. She never ceased to remind me of this. And she would take the train and the L and the buses and come to see me and take care of me. She and Kathy, her best friend, took me to the beach, to college at Navy Pier. I have very fond memories. They gave me paper and pencils, and I was very good. I was very quiet. And to lunch at the Choo Choo Train restaurant, you might remember that. There was a restaurant that had, oh yes, and they took me there. And I was reminding Kathy today that one time I love chocolate phosphate, and I spilled it on me. They took me next door. They took me next door and got me a beautiful dress to replace my chocolate drenched clothing. Skipping ahead, my aunt was a wonderful teacher to her students. I'm sure I was not, but I heard. And she and Kathy both were among the very first people, not just in Illinois, but probably across the whole country, that helped with children with learning disabilities. And she was a wonderful mother and funny and a great, she was a wonderful daughter to my grandparents. And she was extremely unhappy when my mom died, and which she would be anyway, but my mom died and she was the last. She was the last of the five. And my Aunt Mary and my mom and Nanny and Grants. And that really hurt her. It was very difficult. But I know she had her kids and her family around, which had to have helped a lot. My aunt was warm and loving and generous, sometimes very difficult, and altogether wonderful, wonderful aunt and mother and daughter. And I love you so much, Auntie Judy, and I will never, never, never forget you. So thank you.
Judy was born and raised in Chicago. She went to college on the Pier. She studied special ed, and as Karen said, she was good at it. After graduation, she moved back home, and she met Herbert on a blind date. They got married in 1955. 9 months later, Debbie was born, then Amy and Daniel. Judy and Herbert were married for close to 60 years. She was a wonderful cook. Growing up, the family always had dinner together. It was important that the five eat together, and they would wait to have dinner until Herbert came home. Karen mentioned that, yes, Judy loved playing games. Puzzles, Yahtzee, concentration with the cards, Scrabble, games with the educational nature. She loved to play and she loved to win. There is some discrepancy on whether or not she had an extra skill at winning. growing up, you had nice vacations. You went to see Judy's folks who were living in Miami, Cancun, the Apostle Islands, Mackinac Island, the sand dunes in Indiana, and more. Judy was a generous person. She was involved in Hadassah and at Ort. And most of all, she was devoted to family. She was loving and she was fun. She had a great sense of humor. And she had this keen ability to give you what you needed. She paid attention to you and saw you for who you are, giving each what they needed. Through example, she taught you to love family first. It was what came first to her. She was a sounding board. People would come to her, and she was there for you. Family and friends, you carry on the value of family, of being there for each other, for those who need you. You can carry on the traditions of playing games, no matter how you win, it's okay. And that you should add joy. You should add joy and smiles and laughter in this time in your life. And as you do, and as you put family, close friends first, so Judy not only remains within you, but she remains through you to make the world a better place, to brighten the world, and to offer us, because we certainly need it, some smiles and laughter. Judy loved and was loved. May her name and her memory be for a blessing and for an inspiration. We say together, amen. We offered Psalm 23 as a reminder that we're never alone. And this next prayer, called El Malei Rachamim, is a prayer just for Judy, that she continue to be received with tenderness and love. If you're able, please rise. I'll chant the Hebrew and then translate into English. El Malei Rachamim Shochen Bamromim Hametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina Im Kedoshim Utorim Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim Et Nishmat Yehudit Bat Aharon Ve'Esther Nora Shelcha Le'olama Baal Harachamim Yastirea Beseter Knefav Le'olamim Veitzur Bitzur Hachaim Et Nishmata Adonai Hu Nachalata V'tanuach B'shalom Al Mishkavaha V'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Judith Rose Wasserman, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings. Let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. Together we say, Amen. Please be seated.
Friends, this concludes our service here at the chapel. Interment will take place later this afternoon at the family plot at Zion Gardens. The family will be in a private procession to the cemetery. Memorial contributions in Judy's memory can be made to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, 200 North LaSalle Street in Suite 2300, Chicago, Illinois, 60601. That information is on the funeral home website, as well as a folder you received on the way in. If you did not receive one, they're available on the way out. Okay, so just after we, in a moment, we're going to ask everyone to please rise as we escort the casket. Some of the staff from the funeral home will escort Judy's casket. Following behind there will be the rabbi as well as the family, and we'll just walk across our lobby or into the adjacent chapel, which is Chapel D, where a Shiva meal is prepared. Maybe give the family just a few moments to gather themselves before entering, but not too long. Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise. Friends, will follow me.